How's it going, everybody? It's MrScaryMuffin once again, and welcome to Thoughts Talking TF2. This week, I wasn't really going to talk about this topic, but an interesting Crack.com article came up, and it basically was kind of a sign that maybe I should just talk about this, and the topic is motivation. I really wanted to talk about this next week, but I figured since this opportunity came up, I couldn't miss it. For those of you guys who don't know, and I don't think you guys would know, I've been struggling a little bit with procrastination and motivation for the last couple of months now, and it is a pretty big issue for me right now. And this discussion is probably more of a dialogue for myself, from myself. But if you guys take away anything from this, then awesome. Let me know in the comments, all that kind of stuff. Any of you guys have any suggestions, that's also wonderful. So the big problem, I think, for motivation and getting around procrastination, all that kind of stuff, for me anyways, is simply getting started. And in the past, I've had all these little tricks that I would try to fool myself into getting started, but, you know, sometimes I'm just too smart for my own good, I suppose, and I can't outsmart myself, you know what I mean? One of the things I used to do was I would simply say, okay, before I play any games, before I do anything else, I'm going to do at least 5 minutes of work. Like if it was for school, this is back when I was in university, so I'm like, okay, if I had to do reading, I'm going to do 5 minutes of reading, and after that 5 minutes, if I still want to just go play games, then I'll just go play games, right? And I'll put in the obligatory 5 minutes, and it worked for a while, because for me, like I said, the problem was getting started. So as soon as I convinced myself to get started, I had no trouble moving and continuing. I'm like, well, I already read 5 minutes. I only got so many pages left in this chapter. I might as well just finish the chapter and then I'll go. And it worked. It worked pretty well up until I stopped doing it, right? Like now when I'm going, okay, well, before I start doing this thing, before I start making videos for YouTube, for me, making videos for YouTube is not work at all. It's fun. It's a hobby, right? And it is one of the probably big problems right now, which is why I'm procrastinating so much, is because I'm creating so much video content. But I'm having fun doing it, so I don't know. We'll see how we get around that. But yeah, right now I don't even allow myself that 5 minutes. I can't even get started on the 5 minutes. I need to get like a 30-second start onto that 5-minute start into that full actual start. Getting that first step. All in all, it is an issue, and it's something that I continue to struggle with, and I'll probably continue to struggle with my entire life until I figure one thing out or another. But I was reading this Crack.com article, and the title of this article was 5 Popular Self-Help Tips That Actually Hinder Success. I believe that's the title. Actually hurt your career, rather. Okay, there you go. And 2 things stood out to me. The other ones weren't entirely applicable to myself. One of them was visualizing your own success will make you lazier. So picturing yourself being successful actually will hurt you. And this is kind of interesting for those of you guys who know about quote-unquote The Secret. Basically, that thing was like, all you have to do is wish for something really hard and you'll get it. Just picture yourself on a yacht, on a boat, and that thing will happen. And so that was kind of interesting, and a little bit, the reason for the belief is, reason for this idea that it doesn't work is because when you visualize yourself being successful, your brain gets those little endorphins. It feels satisfied enough. Like it doesn't have the full satisfaction of actually completing what you've done, but it gets that mini satisfaction, and to it, it's good enough. It's just as good as anything else, and you are less motivated. You have less energy. Actually, you actually have less energy to go and do something. So say you want to go out for a run, and then you picture yourself doing the marathon, running nonstop, completing your goal, like, yeah, and then you're like, well, so should I go run today and get prepared for it? You kind of be like, well, maybe not, because you would be a little bit, you'll have a little less energy and be less motivated to do so. So that was an interesting thought. The other thing that caught my eye was telling your friends that you would do something actually is counterintuitive as well. It doesn't help you get motivated. And this is something that I was really huge. I really believed that, like, if I wanted to do something, I needed to tell people I'm going to do this thing, and then they will keep me honest, right? They'll make sure I actually they'll be like bugging me like, hey man, when can we do this? When can we do that? And you know what? It really hasn't been working for me. And the article again kind of explains a little bit of like how that works. It's the same thing with fantasizing or imagining that you actually succeeded, visualizing your success, telling your friends, right? Gives you that the fact that you're telling your friends and they're like, oh yeah, that's a good goal. That gives you that mini satisfaction, and makes it a little, gives you a little. End result is that you feel a little satisfied. Your brain kind of relaxes and go, yep, don't gotta do this anymore. And it's interesting, and it kind of goes with that thought where if you're like so close to the finish line, right? Like you're about to win, you're about to finish the test, you're about to beat your competitors or something like that, and you can visualize that success. You know, you're like, all right, 1 minute left, we're leading, 3-2 or whatever. There's nothing bad's gonna happen. We're gonna win this, guys. Like, can you imagine having the gold medal? Oh yeah, and then you kind of relax and the other team scores the tying goal and you're like, oh, how could we let that happen? It was such an easy thing to stop, right? It's because you visualize that success, your body relaxes and you actually don't have as much energy, because before then you were all pumped and adrenaline rushed, and then suddenly your body goes, oh, whew, glad that's over, but it hasn't finished yet, right? It's that kind of mentality, and that's what's causing the problem. But yeah, so motivation, how do you guys get motivated? I already told you guys I have a trick that I use, which was just get started working for 5 minutes, and then if I want to continue working, then I'll continue working. For me, it's always about getting started, which is why when I started this real life achievements thing, I always lowball my goals really early on. Like, I want to say something, for example, I'm not going to say I'm going to go and run every morning, but I might say at least twice a week, I'm going to go outside and just walk somewhere. At least twice a week, I'm just going to go outside and walk somewhere. Because I know I would do it. It's something that I can easily do, right? Like, if you guys don't think you guys can do the push-ups, right? Then do push-ups against the stairs, where it's way easier, right? Say you were going to do push-ups against the stairs and you're being elevated. It doesn't matter that it is so freaking easy. It doesn't matter that you can't really brag to your friends about it. It doesn't matter if it's not impressive. It matters if it will get you to actually do it. Right? If you start on the stairs, like say 4 steps up, and you're doing push-ups, and you're basically standing straight up and you're doing push-ups like that, it doesn't matter. Because once you got that going, you'll be like, you know what, today maybe I'll move down a step. I'll do from 3 steps up. Right? And I'll be a little bit more horizontal. And then you'll do that for a while, right? And then eventually you'll be like, you know what, maybe I'll do it 2 steps, right? And you, as long as you get started, I think is the main big thing for people of this era is that they just simply don't get started. It's just so easy to sit down and not do something. It's so easy. You got so many distractions. You got so many other things that can be seemingly important. You got, oh man, I got to do the script. I got to practice this. I got to read this article. I got to go meet up with my friends because I haven't seen my friends in a while. Oh, I got to catch up on all these Reddit posts I haven't seen. Right? I don't even use Reddit, by the way. I've started using a little bit of Reddit, but for the most part, I haven't been using Reddit as a thing to look at, like, to follow or anything, and I'm kind of glad. For a while I was actually following the chive.com, and I was like, oh gosh, this thing is like eating hours out of my day, and I eventually just kind of stopped because also like I didn't really quite like a lot of things they had there either. But yeah, so motivation, and I was mentioning this as a dialogue for myself because I need to get going and start doing some of the projects that I've been talking about a lot. And I need to do things like get started on my novel. I don't know if I started on Ironhoe, the adventure map for Minecraft, but I don't know if I'm going to keep with that. That's kind of a topic for another day, I suppose. But I kind of want to do projects that matter in the real life, things that really, really, really matter. And we'll have to see how that goes for myself as well. That's basically all I want to talk about this topic. In terms of motivation, and again, it's a dialogue for myself, and because I need to get myself going, and I wanted to push this off for 2 more weeks. I want to talk about something else this week, but this Crack.com article kind of keeping me honest a little bit in a way. But you know what? Let's talk about some of these other things on the crack.com article. There's 5 things in there, and I already talked about 2 of them. One of them was being too smart makes you crack under pressure, apparently, where if you're smart, you also get more stressed out for some reason. I don't find that applies to myself. Maybe I'm not smart, but I deal with stress pretty well, and I'm not too intimidated by pressure or like things. Or maybe it's just that I don't perceive stressors the same way. It's always about individual people, right? Like certain tricks that work for some people may not necessarily work for you. You yourself understand yourself the best, right? If you make a New Year's resolution saying something like, I'm gonna go and hit the gym every week, and then back of your head's going, yeah, or like that's gonna happen, then you kind of need to change your goal, right? Say something like, do it once a month. And then if once a month seems realistic, like you're actually going to do it, then there you go. You now have made a goal that you actually will do. I think it's important to pick goals that are realistic, that you actually will do, because when you pick a goal that you already kind of given up on, you will just never get started on, and that is one of the big issues, especially for myself. I'm trying really hard nowadays to scale myself back, and not do crazy things. Another one of these things, getting constant feedback leads to poor decisions. I like feedback. A lot of people like feedback. I think one of the things, maybe the reason why I don't feel this applies to me is because I believe in the give advice so that you don't care kind of thing, and I also I listen to advice, but I won't always take that advice. I'll keep it in my mind, but I won't immediately reflect it. I like to figure things out myself. It's one of my favorite things to do. So if somebody gives me advice, I'm like, that's cool. I'm going to try this first, and then I'm going to come back to that, right? Like, it's not that I'm not listening to you, but I also want to see if other things work, because there's no always one right answer to do something, and one right way to do something. There can be multiple ways, and so it'll be nice to find a different way to do something too, even if there is one already present to you. I always think that was kind of cool. The last thing is kind of interesting. Being morally questionable is not necessarily a shortcut. And this last thing is like about people who get their hands dirty in order to be successful in their career. It has nothing to do with motivation. This is like a self-help thing, right? And it talks about how people who have like a guilty conscience find it much harder to walk up that hill, kind of thing. And I thought that was really interesting. So that basically they're saying like either don't do bad things or be a carefree sociopath. And the reason I don't think this kind of applies to me is because I'm kind of a care nothing guy, where I wouldn't say I'm a sociopath, but like I don't usually look back, and I don't usually get stuck up on things too much. And that could be a problem in the future too. Who knows? But that is something that I don't particularly care too much for. Anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up here. We still got about 3 minutes left in this match. This is the second half, by the way. This is the second half of that steel match where I was learning how to use the ESDF control scheme, and I still can't really play spy or engineer really well using this new control scheme, but in terms of playing Minecraft and stuff like that, I've got a lot better. And you notice that the UHC video is up now. I got even better at playing Minecraft with ESDF, even though I don't really even need these keys for Minecraft. It's kind of now gotten a little bit more natural. And Matt says there's no such thing as muscle memory, but it feels like it's muscle memory to me. And you see, like, I'm also using, in this case, the back burner, just because I wanted to sneak behind and do more damage as the pyro. Back burner otherwise kind of sucks, but while I'm learning how to do this, and I know I'm gonna be not switching weapons too often, I'm like, yeah, I'll use the back burner. Like, I wasn't really thinking I'll be extinguishing a lot. Anyways, I hope you guys pick up something from this. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care. It's more for myself, and hopefully I will be able to get going on some things, and I'm hoping that the trip to Japan is gonna help a little bit as well, to get myself motivated and excited to get on with my life and do something brand new and exciting. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this match. There's about a minute left. I'll leave you guys to the silence, and if you guys want to give me a thumbs up, I would much appreciate it. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Sniper in the window again.
Alert. Our control point is being captured.
Wow, that domination was bugging you.
Alert. The final control point is being contested.
Back.
Run, medic, run.
Mission ends in 30 seconds.
Oh,
Alert. The final control point is being contested.
Double kill.
Ends in 10 seconds.
It only took 3 snipers to get to
Alert.
the
Our last control point is
medic.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You all should be ashamed of yourself.